Hey there, everyone. Steve Metrics here of No Debate Sports. And here we are looking at my team, the Las Vegas Raiders, and seeing how they're going to be looking at approaching this year's draft down in Kansas City. So, we have 11 draft picks. It's a lot of draft picks. For me, I come from the fantasy side of looking at a team's roster. When it comes to the defense, I generally look at a defense and know if, as a whole, if that unit is good or not so great. So, if we were to look at the Vegas Raiders depth tracker on offense, we know that this is how it's built. We know that Devonte Adams and Josh Jacobs are two of the best players at their position. The rest of the lineup can definitely use some work. So we look at the tight end position. We know they lost Darren Waller. So are they going to be able to fill that with OJ Howard and Austin Hooper? Maybe, maybe not. Quarterback position is absolutely temporary. We know that Garoppolo and Hoyer, they are Patriots. They are Patriot guys. We have Patriot ownership, well, management, and we have Patriot coaching. So these players are here to provide that stopgap while we look for the future franchise quarterback of the Raiders. So we know on offense, quarterback and tight end are definitely positions of concern that need to be addressed. We know too at the back end of the running back position, there's going to need to be some work. Even Josh Jacobs himself, for as strong as a player as he is, and he truly is one of the best running backs in the league, he is going to need some support. So it's not looking all that great for the overall health of the running back position for my Raiders. So we have that there. On the wide receiver side too, we lost Matt Collins, but we brought in Jacoby Myers to fill that number two position. And when it comes to the speed, the slot, we have Hunter Renfrow. We did bring in DeAndre Carter from the Chargers. He was a very fast receiver for Herbert, returned some kicks. So between him and Abdullah, we have two guys that are strong at returning kicks. But there's definitely going to need to be something addressed with the receiver position as well behind Devontae Adams. So that's how it is on offense. When it comes to defense, I just know as a whole, pretty much outside of Max Crosby, the team definitely needs work. So with Max Crosby, we have him on the right side edge, and we know that we've had Yannick Ngakwe with him, and this past season we had Chandler Jones. But both pieces have basically just survived a season. They're not able to play with us year in, year out like Max Crosby is. So somewhere on that edge, we're absolutely going to need another player to come in and support Crosby. Behind him, we have not figured out the linebacker position. We have at best had about one good corner, and usually one has been banged up or just not serviceable. We've gone through what we did with Damon Arnett, and it's really a bummer that that situation was what it was. So we need to fill those positions. So we're looking at tight end, corner, edge, quarterback, and linebacker. I'm going to look at just the first four rounds and those picks between rounds 5, 6, and 7. There's 7 players that could potentially be drafted for the Raiders in that time frame. That's a lot of players. That's a lot of back end knowledge of the backside of the draft. That I'm going to leave that to the professionals who really cover this day in, day out. So let's start looking at rounds 1 through 4, and let's look at round 1. So if I go to Pro Football Focus and look at their top 200 prospects and look at who they have ranked in order, let's take a look at where we think things are going to happen around pick number 7. So around 7 is Will Levis. That is a quarterback that is very, very built, has a heck of an arm, has that kind of Jay Cutler swagger about him. We know Mike McDaniels didn't work out so well with Jay Cutler. Maybe this is his second second attempt at working with a quarterback of that prototype. So you absolutely have that kind of player there. There's even Bijan Robinson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Dalton Kincaid is another good one. If we're at all able to play into the feel that some of these quarterbacks are really going to move towards the front of the draft, like Stroud and Bryce Young and Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, if there's a way that we can get some of these other guys that could fall down to us, Devin Witherspoon is absolutely a guy I would love for us to get. If we can get a guy like that, that would be insane in the secondary. So I don't know if he'll fall to us, but we'll put him down as the first choice that we could get. So let's go ahead and get Devin Witherspoon then. So we got a guy like that, but we also know too, even the offensive line could use some work. So I also like possibly getting that Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. That's an excellent offensive lineman, and we definitely need some support on the front line for Josh Jacobs. The pass protection at the end of the year was good for Derek Carr, but it seemed like game in, game out that Josh Jacobs would always have to get his yards after contact. So if we can help him out and get him some yards before contact, that'd be fantastic. So let's go ahead and put Skoronski as that second choice if we couldn't get Witherspoon. So we got Peter Skoronski. And there we go. All right, so round 2, we would be at pick number 38. So let's go all the way down to 38 and see who more than likely is going to show up down there. So you got wide receiver Josh Downs out of North Carolina. Boy, tell you what, if you get a chance, go and check out my guy DJ Triggs. Check out his review of the tight ends. This Darnell Washington at the NFL Combine was just on a tear. He absolutely would destroy that sled that they were tackling and see how far they could push it back. All of the other tight ends pushed it maybe about 3-4 yards on a good day. Darnell Washington pushed it 20. He is so built, so big. He is absolutely a guy you need. Plus, we know tight ends are part of the offensive line. So if he can support that run blocking game for Josh Jacobs, be fantastic. I love getting tight end Darnell Washington in this spot. So let's go ahead and plug him into our spreadsheet. If I could type this, that'd be a little bit easier. All right, here we go. Darnell Washington. Awesome. I like that. So that's a really nice selection that we could get there. Who else we got? That Jack Campbell of Iowa is also a really strong linebacker. Considering how that defense is in Iowa and the low-scoring games they play, plus we need a linebacker, that's absolutely a guy I would love for us to select as well. So let's go ahead and throw him onto the sheet. Maybe I can paste this. Let's see if that's a little bit easier. Oh, what do you know it is? There you go. All right, so we're going to round 3. And again, too, we still need that quarterback. So who could we really get to make that happen? And we know we have 3 picks in round 5. So let's go to round 3. Let's see who we get in the 70s. All right. So there is that safety Sidney Brown. That guy is pretty darn strong. There is that corner Corey Trice out of Purdue. He's a real good corner that we could work with. You got a guard out of NC State. All right, let's kind of look around here. All right, we're starting to see that Tanner McKee is in this area. We know that we need a tight end as well. We might get that Tucker Kraft. I know we got a tight end up here, but we still need to figure out that secondary. I would prefer to get a corner before we start rolling the dice on tight ends to replace Darren Waller. So let's go ahead and take Corey Trice Jr. out of Purdue. And then, boy, you got Marvin Mims there too. That's pretty strong there as well. considering that this is all part of the offensive line and that's the part of the job, well, we already have Darnell Washington. So I like the fact that we could probably go for another receiver that maybe Jacoby Myers might not be that true to. Let's see who else we can get. I do like that Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma. I think that would be a pretty strong pick that we could get. Well, maybe again fortify that offensive line and get a guard. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's get Chandler Zavala out of NC State and add him to the list. So let's see who we got there. All right. So we got some corners that we're looking at. We got some linebackers. We got a tight end. So we got basically we're really trying to protect the areas. Well, we're really trying to fortify the areas that we're weak at. So the secondary is definitely going to need the biggest help in getting to the level that it needs to be. And then we're going to kind of focus on the offensive line and a little bit of that interior part of the defense. So that's where we're going to work with for there. So in round 4, what are we looking at? We're probably thinking around the lines of maybe an edge rusher and possibly that quarterback. So let's take a look at that. That's going to be in round 4 and around pick 109. So we go down to 109. Let's see who we got. All right, so there is that edge rusher, KJ Henry out of Clemson. That's definitely a player we're looking at. We know, too, that Clemson isn't as team-oriented, I guess, with how their players on defense kind of cover for each other on defense. We have a player like that on our team already, and that was back when Brett Venables was calling those defenses for Clemson. But it's just a different style of defense on Clemson now that Venables is over in Oklahoma. So if we can get a player who's really shined on that uniqueness on their own, that's going to help us out. So I do like the ability to get KJ Henry out of Clemson. And let's see how that would look on our sheet. All right. So we got him there. And what else could we do? We know that all of these 3 fifth-round picks that are showing up, they're all going to show up close to that 109th pick in the 4th round. So this is definitely a good time that we could be thinking about a quarterback or possibly another piece on what else do we have? Okay, there's another corner, maybe defense too. Something like that. I guess the way I want to leave this is I know there is a certain quarterback who is going around round 5-ish. I think it's better to leap on this guy earlier than later, considering the buzz I've heard of this quarterback is up there with the guys in round 1, even though he's probably going in round 4 or 5. I say if we have not selected a quarterback in rounds 1 or 2, really, I think what we really need to do is get that guy to fill this fourth round position, possibly even ahead of KJ Henry out of Clemson. So let's go ahead and bump him over there, and let's figure out who that guy is. To me, that guy is Dorian Thompson Robinson. He is a heck of a quarterback. Seeing the throws he's made, seeing the receivers he's played with, who are good receivers, but truly the best receivers out there are definitely going to Southern Cal over UCLA. A guy like Dorian Thompson, who isn't always playing with the best components around him, like a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young at Ohio State and Alabama. UCLA, you have to be a little more scrappier, and when you're in the NFL, that's life. You don't have the best pieces around you, so you have to figure it out with the guys you got. That is exactly why I like Dorian Thompson Robinson as a player that can learn, can develop, can work behind a Garoppolo or a Brian Hoyer and really learn, just like you're seeing out of what Jordan Love just went through with Aaron Rodgers. I think a guy like that could actually work out to be really, really nice. So these are the choices that I would be thinking along the lines of for at least the first 4 rounds. Thanks again for watching. Go ahead and comment on this in the comments and let me know what you think. And thanks again for watching. I'm Steve Metrics of No Debate Sports. We'll see you next time.